What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I had to do some catching up. Been real busy. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Labor Day weekend. Make sure everyone's out there being safe, not stupid. Watch out for checkpoints. You know the routine. Don't drink and drive, kids. I just caught up with the new All Access on Showtime. I forgot to have it recorded, so I watched it on the internet. Shout out to Showtime Sports for having this video available and ready for me to watch. They had the video available. I'll put the link in the description. Again, shout out to them for having this up really quick. All Access Episode 2 to me is better than the first one. The first one was cool, but this one was more entertaining. I liked how it was set up. The cinematography is great to me. Um, Honestly, I don't know much difference from the HBO 24/7, except Showtime has the better fighters, the younger fighters, the more marketable fighters in general, and the more marketable fights as a whole. I think Top Rank has a lot of rematches. They're trying to make Pacquiao and Marquez 5. I mean, there are some new, fresh matches like Rios and Pacquiao, Marquez and Bradley, but I don't know. I don't see much difference. The narrator seems like he's coming into his own, and I just like where they're headed with this. They gave you the different elements. The last 5 minutes of this, they showed a lot of action sequences and training hard. Cuts of Floyd Mayweather jump roping, Canelo hitting the heavy bag, and it was just exciting. I know by the end of watching it, I was amped up even more so for the fight. It's a great fight card. As far as the All Access, one thing I liked also is Floyd Mayweather was really being Floyd Mayweather, just how he kind of acts. But Showtime, they did some sneaky, tricky media tricks, which was good. It made this episode entertaining. Oscar De La Hoya spoke, and he's the promoter of Canelo. He's also has a promotional company that helped put this card together. And Oscar De La Hoya said something that was pretty shocking. And he said that he fought Mayweather, and even though he lost to Mayweather, he set the blueprint for how to beat Mayweather. Um, I don't agree with that. I don't see how you can really set a blueprint for someone you didn't beat. However, despite how you lost, I mean, if you lost, you lost. How'd you set the blueprint for him? I think as the fight went on, Floyd became more dominant, and Oscar was fading, and that's just what it was. I don't see how Oscar De La Hoya or Canelo is saying that they think Oscar won that fight. I don't think he won at all. I think it was competitive early on, and then Mayweather started like pulling away from it being a competitive bout. And pretty much what Mayweather does as the fight wears on, he typically gets better or starts looking better. Shane Mosley, he was in a little bit of trouble in round two. Um, he got rocked really hard. I think he was hurt twice in that round, and then he did what he normally does, started pulling away. So I don't know what Oscar De La Hoya is talking about, but I don't put too much. I don't invest too much into what promoters say. I mean, it's just like a salesperson. Some people will do anything to sell. I remember at my job there was a representative for HP, and they had printers, and customers would come in and they would act like, "Oh, what about this printer?" And the printer would be like $39.99. They're like, "Is this a good one?" They're like, "Yeah, it's the best." And then they're trying to compare it to a Canon or Epson printer, which was more expensive. And the HP rep was like, "No, you don't want to get that Canon. You want to get this HP." Now, the HP was very cheap and it didn't have that many features. The Canon and the Epson printer were higher price points with more features. Plus, the HP rep, since he works for HP, probably doesn't even know the features of the Canon or the Epson printer. However, he told the customer that you need to go with the HP. So it's almost like, I don't even know what the word is. A conflict of interest to believe a promoter or a salesperson. Of course, they're not going to badmouth their own product. In the promotional game, their product is their fighters. I mean, Canelo is a fighter. They've been building up, giving him fights, marketing him. They've invested a lot of money in him. Press time, specials, posters, merchandise. So, of course, Oscar De La Hoya is going to say, "Oh, yeah, I gave my fighter the blueprint." But if you watch boxing and you've been watching for a while, he said that about everybody. He said Mosley was gonna do the job. He said Victor Ortiz was strong, young, and he was gonna knock Mayweather out, and he has the blueprint. So realistically, everyone had the blueprint. That's the whole point. Um, Again, I don't really see how you have a blueprint if you lose. That's like saying Amir Khan has the blueprint on how to beat Danny Garcia, yet Danny Garcia is still undefeated, and he lost that fight. Amir Khan lost the fight, even though he looked very sharp, laser sharp in the early rounds. He was giving Danny Garcia problems, but it's not the blueprint because he didn't win. Same thing with Zab Judah. Zab Judah has the blueprint. You know what I mean? He gave Mayweather problems also. So Zab Judah has a blueprint. And what Zab Judah did was totally different than Oscar De La Hoya, and both fighters still lost. So, I mean, I don't believe that blueprint shit because first of all, each fighter is their own person. I don't recall Oscar De La Hoya fatiguing as much as I seen Canelo trying to conserve his energy. I think Oscar De La Hoya had more of a volume in his prime than Canelo. Canelo's bigger than Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, there's a lot of different factors. They're not the same fighter. They're not the same guy. They have different. There's little nuances that each fighter has. Some people have faster reflexes. Some people, I mean, they have different brains. Everything is different. Even though fighters have similarities, they're still their own people. They react to shots different. It's like Canelo and De La Hoya might have two different chins. We don't really know. You know what I mean? Canelo might have a iron chin, and De La Hoya didn't have as good of a chin, or De La Hoya might have had an iron chin. I mean, there's no way to really gauge and compare certain attributes. So what works for one fighter is not necessarily going to work for the next. But overall, I like the All Access. I thought it was good. It was also really good how they showed Canelo in a different light. He's a young dude, but he seems very serious, very stoic, and like he's serious all the time. But in this episode, they showed him like dancing. He was doing some like salsa merengue or some kind of dance in the middle of training, and he was laughing. They showed just elements of him actually having fun and smiling and having a good time. They showed the Abner Mars Johnny Gonzalez fight. I thought that was good for a good pivotal moment to build on the story. They were saying how sometimes the fighter you expect to win doesn't win. So that's perfect because a lot of people are favoring Mayweather for this fight. So I thought that was a good tie-in, bringing the Abner Mars the fight with Johnny Gonzalez, because that was an upset as well. If you said you seen Johnny Gonzalez knocking out Abner Mars in the first round, I need proof. Show me the video you made prior to the fight happening. Other than that, you're full of shit. So they had a lot of good tie-ins. Like I said, the Oscar De La Hoya, despite him being a promoter and obviously spouting out bullshit, oh, they have the blueprint and all that, it still sells, and it's still shocking. It'll make people want to see the fight even more. It did that for me. Like I said, Canelo having a good time was a good thing to see. He looks like he's training hard. They also talked about his sparring partners, how he's working the sparring partners, and he needs more durable guys because he's running through the sparring partners. One thing I will say about this is not to knock Canelo's training. Like I said, Canelo has a shot to beat Mayweather. I still did an official prediction video, and I did have Mayweather winning that fight, but I don't take anything away from Canelo. He's young, he's strong, he has the ability, it's boxing. But they keep banking on this sparring partnership. One, no one can really duplicate what Mayweather does in terms of being a complete fighter and being the thinker that he is. So it's really hard to find a sparring partner, especially people who aren't at that championship level. When they showed the sparring partners, I didn't really notice any of them that I've seen, and I watch a lot of boxing channels, Fight Hype. Ellie Seckbach is always in different boxing gyms, and he shows up and coming talent and people that are below the radar, that have sparred with Pacquiao's and trained with the Matisses and good fighters. And literally, when they showed them, maybe I have to do a double take, but I did not know a single one of those sparring partners. And like I said, Seckbach alone has tons of videos with these sparring partners where they're talking about sparring Mayweathers and Danny Garcia's, prepping them for different fights. And I don't recall seeing any of those dudes. So I don't know what they bring to the table, but obviously they haven't had the experience of dominating for 17 years. So very hard to mimic. I also watched an interview, I forgot whose channel it was on, but the sparring partner that Canelo used, they were trying to mimic Mayweather's footwork and elusiveness and have someone who's quick on their feet. the sparring partner they use is a natural 130 pounder or 135 pounder, which is extremely small. Mayweather's been fighting bigger guys. He's been fighting at 147 for quite some time. So, of course, if guys are natural, if you're getting small guys like that in order to mimic the craftiness and the fast hands and fast footwork of a Mayweather, of course these guys aren't going to necessarily be as durable and get their ribs cracked and all kinds of shit like that if they're weighing a buck 35. I mean, so hopefully he's getting good work. He says he's ready and he's training. He sounds very confident. He obviously has the size advantage. So we'll see September 14th. Mayweather also said, I don't give a fuck. I'm not a sparring partner. I'm Floyd fucking Mayweather. I don't care what Canelo's doing in his training camp. So that's pretty much what he had to say in so many words. He doesn't care what's going on in Canelo's training camp because he's his own person, and it doesn't matter because he's Mayweather and he's not a sparring partner. So let me know what you guys think of episode 2. I enjoyed it. Can't wait to see the last one before the actual fight. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a good fight and a good undercard. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe.